People with the Grandmaster title usually know all the ins and outs of chess, including the rules. However, there's been times where top players have slipped up, which has sometimes cost them the entire game. Just like Vidit Gujrathi, which during the Tadal Steel India Blitz tournament of 2019, playing against Hikaru Nakamura, with Vidit as white, they start their game with pawn d4, knight f6, pawn c4, and pawn e6, the East Indian defense. From there, the game stays very passive, with the evaluation bars staying pretty even, with Hikaru having the slight positional advantage. After more pieces get traded off, Hikaru is left with a passed pawn only 2 moves away from promoting, and the position for white becomes a lot harder to defend. After trading off rooks, Hikaru's king blocks the entire path for white to defend its pawn, and in this moment, Vidit plays the move king to e3, sacrificing his king for the game. Obviously, this move can't be made, and you can tell just by how surprised the crowd looks. Instead of being disqualified, Hikaru's given an extra minute on time, and just to add to the mess, the clock malfunctions. After all of that, Vidit eventually resigns. The next game had an illegal move that I think has only occurred once in chess history, with the game being played by Faustino Oro as black going against Nihal Sarin. The game starts with pawn to d4, knight f6, knight f3, and pawn d5, the symmetrical variation of the queen's pawn opening. Both players develop their positions like normal, with a bishop and knight getting traded off. Nihal ends up moving his queen to g3 in an attempt to put pressure on black's king. However, in his uncastled position, his king is left a bit exposed on the queen's side. Faustino notices this immediately and starts to try to break through. After trading a knight for a bishop, Nihal castles and the game is looking pretty equal. Though with such a congested position, both players begin to start making more passive moves, trying to keep good time on the clock. But that's when Nihal makes an attack on black's queen, and this caused Faustino to hesitate, and he ends up hitting the clock without moving a piece. In this moment, both players look confused and are pretty unsure what to do. After a small intermission, Faustino is left with a second on the clock and Nihal receiving a whole extra minute, which as you could guess, left black to lose on time. But no one's perfect, because Nihal also made an illegal move back in a 2021 Blitz tournament against Param Magsudlu, and if Nihal wins this game playing as white, he will have won the entire tournament. The game begins with pawn d4, pawn e6, knight f3, and pawn b6, playing the normal version of the French defense. Both sides develop like normal, with the pawn and knight being traded. Nihal brings out his queen at f3, applying more pressure and attacking the c6 pawn. After black defends this attack, Nihal starts to spend a significant amount of time on his move, which makes sense considering that this is the last game of the tournament. But with 20 seconds left on his clock, he blunders this position by moving his rook, which allows black to skewer his queen and rook, which Nihal clearly seems to have missed. After exchanging queens, the position for white seems to have completely fallen apart. Although Nihal starts to speed up, he's still fighting the clock and barely keeping up. After black takes the pawn on c3, putting white in check, Nihal doesn't realize, and instead of moving the king, he tries to move his bishop. Param urgently points this out, and at this point, Nihal knows he's messed up, and he ends up by resigning the game.